If you want to understand success, you also need to study the sources of failure. So today we're going to have some fun talking about knowing the enemy of your success. Same structure as usual with 6 different points. What is the enemy of your success? Why should you worry about it? Who is an expert in this area? How can you get better in this area? How do you not get better in this area? And how do I personally practice to get better in this area? Okay? And as you have probably already guessed, the main enemy of your success to worry about is your self-limitations. Meaning all your excuses, all your postponing tasks, all your procrastination, and taking the easy route when you should be taking the difficult route. The good news is your enemy is predictable. He always shows up every time things get difficult. But that's also the bad news, so to speak. But again, you can win. And we're going to talk about how later on over here. So now we already know that your main enemy is your self-limitations and your negative self-talk as well when you come up with excuses, etc. Now let's talk about why you want to worry about this. As we mentioned in the beginning of the video already, the source of your success is also knowing the source of your failure, so you can eliminate this source of failure. And one person who is an expert in this area and somebody who has inspired me a lot is David Goggins, former Navy SEAL and Army Ranger School commander, and probably one of the toughest persons alive if you ask many people. He's written a book called Can't Hurt Me from 2018, Master Your Mind and Defy the Odds. He's also known as an ultra runner. He has run, I believe, plus 60 ultra marathons, meaning over 100-mile races, and his record is running plus 200 miles in kind of one go. And that is extremely tough, and so he knows a lot about going through pain and not stopping when things get tough. So let's move on to the next one. How can you get better at eliminating your self-limitations and avoiding these excuses that we come up with all the time? So what Goggins says is that you can visualize going through it, like going through a difficult task or solving a difficult problem. You can visualize going through the discomfort or the pain of doing this task. You can visualize it over and over again, imagining yourself not giving up when things get difficult and enduring this pain or discomfort. And that's what he does. He also visualizes completing the task, but more importantly, visualizing going through the pain, because that's the time you can always count on that you want to cancel the task. Okay? So you have to anticipate the mind's reaction. You have to know your mind. The natural reaction of your mind is to escape pain. That applies in business as well. It applies in all parts of life, avoiding difficult conversations, avoiding the most difficult tasks that you should be doing, or putting them later on in your schedules and so on, or coming up with excuses to do something else on that day. And that brings us to another way on how you can solve this weakness within yourself. And that is to schedule via queue and not via time slots. So if you have a really difficult task, you could say that instead of saying that you're going to do this at 1 p.m., then say you're going to do this the first thing after you're done with your lunch. Okay? There's a big difference, because if you schedule at, let's say, 1 p.m. and let's say that you bump into your boss right after lunch and he starts talking to you and the conversation goes for 20 minutes, and then suddenly it's 120, and now you have an excuse not to do your task that's important. But let's say that you bump into your boss, but you decided you were going to do this the first thing after lunch. Then you have a reason still to do it, because that's the first thing you're actually going to start doing right after lunch. And that way you can prepare to cancel excuses instead of canceling the task. And by doing this over and over again, you will also start to realize that most of the time you don't die from doing these difficult tasks, because that's what your subconscious mind is trying to tell you, that it's, oh, this is dangerous, I have to postpone it or something. Yeah, it feels like you're gonna die, but that usually never happens. So just get used to discomfort, get used to getting into the pain zone and discomfort, out of your comfort zone. So let's talk about how not to do it. So number one, what everybody have done, I'm sure, including myself, is to tell yourself about a difficult task that one day I'm gonna do it, one day when I feel like doing it. And you know what? That day might never come, because when something is uncomfortable and difficult, it's way easier to just push it far in front of you and postpone it, and that day is probably not gonna come. So you have to pull the task close to you and put it right in front of you if you want to increase the likelihood of solving that task and making yourself the most successful version of yourself. Or another way of failing would be to schedule a difficult task, and then when the time arrives, you will just use the first excuse that comes to mind of something more important to do, and then cancel the task and do something else instead. That's just procrastination. That happens a lot. A lot of us do that because it's so much easier and more comfortable. Now let's talk about, how do I train eliminating my excuses and my self-limitations? How do I practice to stay outside of my comfort zone? So how I do this is I practice becoming friends with pain and discomfort, so to speak. I practice going through pain in sports and then transferring that skill into business. So when I do sports, I push myself to the limit in the gym, in running, and get used to the pain and discomfort, and not panicking, but embracing the pain and discomfort. And then I try to transfer that into how I solve business problems or problems in my life in general. Okay, so I hope you got some good takeaways from this video. And don't be scared of getting into the discomfort zone by exiting your comfort zone. Do it often, make it a routine, and your success will increase for sure. Because the magic happens outside the comfort zone, and that's how you grow, and that's how you grow your business, and that's how you improve yourself and become the best version of yourself. So I hope you found some tools you can use in this video, and if you did, subscribe and like, and see you on the next one. Thank you.